Welcome back to another video. I am in my car, packed up, ready to go to powering through for my last heavy session before British. So it is Saturday the 8th of November. I am 4 weeks out as of tomorrow. And yeah, today is my last heavy session until comp day. Now I don't know how heavy we're going to push me next block into comp. Obviously that's all up to my coach Lewis, but I believe this is going to be the heaviest I go now until comp day. And the numbers we have in mind for today aren't anything crazy, but they are significantly heavier than I've been going recently. So I'm really excited to get the session started and underway. Starting a little bit later than we normally do when I train there. Normally, like, everyone trains there around 11, but today some people are getting there a little bit later, and I think Lewis is keeping the gym open a little bit later than normal. So I said I'd aim to get there more like midday, like 12-ish, just to give me a little bit more time in bed this morning, if I'm being honest. Because I really do struggle at the moment, like with my sleep during the week, and I don't know why it's still a problem. I need to try some magnesium or something to see if that helps. But it's definitely been better, to be fair. So yeah, we'll see. But had a really good night's sleep last night. I was in bed at 10. I woke up this morning, my alarm went off. I think it went off at 7:45, 8-ish. Just to give me plenty of time to kind of get up, get some good food in my system, and kind of naturally just slowly wake up and whatever else before I had to leave. And it is now, what, 10 to 10, so yeah, been up for a couple of hours, and yeah, I got a good night's sleep last night. I actually slept through, I think, as well, which is a first for me for a while. Body weight also responded well to the fact that I slept through, and I woke up at 86.4, so I've made myself my own little nutrition, like, weight tracker, on my own spreadsheet. Like, I've tried previously using the spreadsheet that I use with my nutrition clients for myself and almost like coaching myself, but I just don't bother filling it all in, because obviously I know, like, with those sheets I have everyone's macro split, and there's no point me putting my own macros on a spreadsheet like that. It's just a waste of my time unless I'm doing it for another coach to see, kind of thing. So like when I was working with Jane, obviously I filled it in for her to see, and that was just something I wasn't ever doing. And then I was like, well, I could just fill in the weight tracker, or I could just make a really basic spreadsheet. And what I've been doing is I've been setting like rough targets to know that I'm on track. And I have hit my target for this week, which was to be under 86.5, and that doesn't mean all week. That just means at least one day this week to show that I'm kind of on track to roughly half a kilo a week at the moment, just because I want to get myself below 86 before I have to do my cut. I have got a feeling like I've been sitting 87s all week, like very low 87s, but still 87s. Roughly, I would say half a kilo down on where I was sitting on the weekdays of last week, though, which is a trend I also want to monitor. So like I'm roughly half a kilo down on average than I was, and the goal is really to get to 86 and cut from there. If I can sit a little bit lower, then great, but I'm not sure how achievable that's going to be, just with the way my sleep and stuff's been as well. Like, my calories, I don't really want to drop them any lower if I don't have to. Like, they're not super low, but they're at a good spot where I know I'm still recovering really well, but there is scope to drop them if I have to, so I'm going to kind of keep them as they are for the next week. I've got a pretty chilled week coming up. Like, I've actually scheduled out to not have tons of work this next week, so I don't have to get up for anything. Well, I have to get up to drop my car off at the garage on Monday, but other than that, like, I've got a pretty chilled week. Got a few people competing next week, so I've got a few calls and stuff booked in with people, but yeah, overall it's a pretty calm week, and it's just, yeah, I need that, and I think that will really help with the body weight situation as well, and then I can assess if I need to drop my calories and stuff for the last few weeks into comp. Lewis has made it quite clear that he'd rather me just increase my steps, which is obviously absolutely fine. I've been averaging about 10,000. He said maybe push it up to 12,000 in that final block into comp, which is definitely an option. But yeah, I'm going to just assess as we go. But basically, body weight is kind of where I needed it to be at this point, and I feel kind of on track. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty well rested today, feeling calm. Had a relatively stressful day yesterday, but I made sure to just switch off from everything by like 5 p.m. I spent some time with my parents last night as well, and just went around and like literally just sat with my mum, and we just moaned about things to each other for ages, which is a very good way to get things off my chest, and hers. And then, yeah, I came home, just had a really chilled night in front of the TV with Zuko, although he was being a menace, but yeah, I'm feeling good. I prioritised resting and stuff by last night, and kind of just made myself switch off from work, because my last end of block session, I had a really stressful period, just like personal life as well as work, leading into that session, and it just made my whole session just feel awful, because I knew I was still really stressy about stuff. So we've learned from that. We're not being stress heads anymore, and generally like everything is really good at the moment. So yeah, anyway, gonna stop talking, I'm gonna head there because it's about a 2-hour drive. My tyre pressure light keeps coming on in my car, and I haven't checked them, but they were literally only filled like a week ago, so I'm just gonna ignore it and hope that nothing bad happens with my tyre. I've probably jinxed myself now, but I've got so many issues with the car that I bought, so I'm just gonna ignore it. But I need to get petrol on the way as well, so I'm gonna stop talking, and I will show you guys when it's there. I won't take my camera in, so I'll just film everything on my phone, and yeah, and I'll put the clips in of what we end up hitting. him again, come on. Yeah, push up. Yep, nice. Come on, let's make a move. Go on. It was definitely not meant to be that hard. Thank you, team. Okay, so I've just got home. It is pitch black outside. It is 20 to 7, so session was good. Ended up staying and having food with people, so I've gotten home a lot later than originally planned, but it's not a problem. I've actually had a really chilled, like, nice day. The atmosphere there was, like, it was busy and there was a lot of different people there and stuff, and people that I've not seen for a while, so it was really fun. But it felt quite chilled and I felt a little bit less pressure than I sometimes feel when I go there, so that's good. Overall, the session wasn't bad. It just wasn't perfect, and I'm annoyed that it wasn't better than it had, like, could have been, considering how good I've been feeling. Like, none of my lifts felt as good as they should have based on previous weeks, but I'm fairly sure that's because I was quite overstimulated, which is how I feel at comp. And because I've spent a lot of months, like, I went to powering through at the end of last block, and I think the block before that, but before that I had about a 6-month break from training anywhere except for home. And I do think I've got very accustomed to just being alone at home in my own little zone. And the only way I can describe it is when I'm at home training, I'm very aware of everything, like, within my body. I can feel my quads working properly on the squat. I can feel my positioning better on squat. Same with bench. Like, I'm more in tune with my body, I think, because there's less going on around me and I'm so in my own little zone that when I then go somewhere else where there's other people around, more noise around, other lifters around and stuff, I really struggle to feel as in tune with my body. And that is a common thing for me, and that is something that I definitely got used to when I was going to powering through more regularly at the start of the year / end of last year. But as I kind of said to Lewis today, I hit the numbers we wanted me to hit feeling that way, and I didn't feel weak, I just didn't feel amazing, and I just didn't feel like everything was moving as well as it could have done. So considering that, like, actually it's not a bad position to be in. Still got 4 more weeks to British. Intensity's been pretty high on everything this block anyway, especially, like, my back off work and stuff has taken a massive step up this block. Whereas now it's going to be a case of obviously making sure the fatigue and stuff is stripped back, ready for comp. So overall it wasn't bad. Like, squats, my 182 double was okay. My 192 single was definitely a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, but it was still okay. Like, my positioning held pretty well. I'm just annoyed it wasn't faster, but I also have to remember I did that after a double at 182, also after a 2-hour drive there as well, and I wasn't feeling 100% this morning. Like, my appetite really wasn't there. Like, I had a bagel for breakfast, and I have a big appetite normally, and I got halfway through and I felt really sick, like I couldn't finish it. I ended up finishing it, but like it took me ages to get through. And then on the way there, I also brought 2 apples with me just to get some carbs in before I actually trained, and I was eating them like when I was nearly there. And I ate one and I got like 3/4 of the way through and I was like, why am I full from like eating an apple? So then I waited and had the other one like literally as I pulled up. But like something wasn't quite right with my body today. Not to make excuses, but like genuinely that's how I felt. But I don't get me wrong, I didn't feel bad training. Like I didn't feel bad squatting and everything. I just didn't quite feel as in tune with my body as I like to be. But yeah, I got the 192 single back off. So I did 3x5 at 150. That was a set load, so there's nothing really to like write home about. I got through them pretty quickly though, which is good. And then bench, I was aiming for 117 today. Like that was what we were hoping for. And again, based on the block so far, like it should have been there. But I did 112. It was quite hard, but I got a press command. My butt stayed down. Execution was fine. So I only went up to 115. Again, got a press command. My butt, I think, might have lifted slightly, but you can't quite see for definite on the angle I filmed from. But it was fine. Like, I was still confident under it, and bench just didn't feel right. But I know on comp day, bench comes together. And I'm pretty sure one block out of my last comp, I failed 115. I could be wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure I did. And then I still went on to bench 117 at comp, no problem. So I'm not like worried about bench. I did then go to do 107.5 for a set of 4. First 3 reps felt incredible, and then the 4th rep I just died off my chest, so that was annoying. Didn't let it bog me down though. I had 3x4 at a set load of 100 after, which felt really, really good. And then sumo was okay. It was okay. I kept catching my toes under the plates, which I've never had before. And we have been working on like widening my stance a little bit anyway. But because of the clips not being quite as tight as the ones I use at home, the plates were like slanting. And as they slanted in, they would land on my toe. So I was very conscious of that when I got to my actual ascending sets, like the 150, 160, I did for triples, 170 for a double, which was a PB, and then 180 for a single, which I actually took twice, and I'll get to that in a second. But anyway, so because I was worried about my toes, I did kind of not get my positioning quite right on sumo. I'm just making all the excuses. But, again, I worked up to 170 for a double, super comfortable, super clean, happy with that. And then I did 180 for a single, and it moved so well on the first try until my nail fully got hooked in my quad and I literally couldn't move my hand, so I had to put it down. Like, it wasn't a grip thing, it was a nail thing, and I am going to have my nails short for comp, so it's not going to be a problem at comp. I was actually meant to have them shorter this time, but I forgot to ask until it was a bit too late into the appointment, so but it's fine. And then I went and took it again, and the second rep was much better, so it was still slow, but compared to last block's 180 end of block, it was definitely better, and my sumo is feeling more natural every single week, so I think there's more positives than negatives. I just have to accept that my strength isn't quite where I want it right now, but it's on track to get there. I just have to be patient and keep working, and if it's not there for British, that's fine because it will be there for the next comp. But yeah, overall it was fine. I've had a good day, that's the most important thing. Hit the numbers I needed to, didn't execute quite as well as I wanted to, but I've now got 4 weeks until comp to get everything perfect, and I know that I will. So, gonna wrap the video up here. Thank you if you've made it to the end, I really appreciate it, and I will see you in a few days for the next one.